high level of artistry.
Divergent characteristics that must be balanced together for a successful performance in figure skating and in gymnastics. Today, we will see several of the world's best in two of the most popular amateur sports on U.S. Olympic Gold. Welcome to U.S. Olympic Gold, a TBS Sports exclusive. I'm your host, Craig Sager. Gracefulness is to the body what understanding is to the mind. And today we feature two of the most graceful events in all of Olympic competition, gymnastics and figure skating. Former Olympic gold medal winner Bart Connor has the Winter National Gymnastics Championships from Colorado Springs. Silver medal winner Pierre Carruthers teams with Jim Simpson for Skate Canada from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Each Saturday, TBS brings together Olympic challengers in a series of events from world-famous sports venues and cities. Olympic boxer Anthony Hembrick highlighted last week's premiere. He'll join us today from our studios in Detroit.
The U.S. Gymnastics Federation is taking some bold moves to try to keep the U.S. men's team on par with the top international powers. Since the U.S. team's poor finish of 11th place in the Seoul Olympics, not only are gold, silver, and bronze at stake, but also green, because if you make this year's U.S. team, you can earn money. First time for the U.S. Gymnastics Federation, the national champion can earn as much as $16,000 a year to help defray costs of his training expenses. So some pretty drastic moves to keep the U.S. team on par with the top international powers. Now, of course, this is the first major re-ranking of the U.S. national team since the games in Seoul. And as you can see, after the compulsory competition, Lance Ringnold is in the lead over Kevin Davis, who's here performing on the parallel bars. Now, this is a weighted competition, which means that the compulsories count for 60% of the total score and the optionals 40%. So we'll keep you apprised of the adjusted scores in the all-around as well as the individual raw scores as they develop. A nice combination there for Kevin. Healy twirl to another Healy twirl. A little short on that pirouette. Back uprise to a straddle cut L. It's a nice, clean exercise. It's not very aggressive, but he has lots of good skills in there. For the 22-year-old from the University of Nebraska, a little short on that double back dismount. Kevin was 34th in the all-around in Seoul and had a good competition there, but it was a disappointing event for the whole U.S. team. One of the other members of the U.S. team is Lance Ringnold. He's training at Gold Cup Gymnastics in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That is a beautiful vault. That's called a katsumatsu in the laid-out position. Very good height, and look at the clean landing. Lance is very well known for his tumbling and vaulting abilities. That's probably his biggest strength as a competitor. Currently in third place, this is Patrick Kirksey out of the University of Nebraska. He's 20 years old and has been in gymnastics for 12 years. Here's a release combination, a reverse heck to giant swings, right to another reverse heck. Those moves were actually invented by Alexander Tkachev from the Soviet Union, a back straddle over the bar. There's a jam to inverted giant swings. A little trouble there on that hop pirouette. Stalled her, and he sets up for his dismount. Lots of speed, and a triple backflip. He slapped his hands down, which will cost him a half a point in deduction. But otherwise, a pretty nice exercise. A lot of difficulty. So an 8.85 for Patrick Kirksey, who's quite a surprise, actually, in this competition. He was only 33rd in the U.S. Nationals last year. So your standings at this point, Ringnold, Davis, and Kirksey are 1, 2, 3. Now we're in rotation 2, and this is Kevin Davis on the high bar, one of his best events. He opens with a stalder. There's a pirouette to a one-arm giant swing and a full twist. 2 one-arms to a really nice reverse heck, and an excellent combination to get back into the giant swings. A half turn to an immediate stall, a really nice way of picking up from the release move. Nice line on the inverts. Okay, here comes his dismount. It's a laid out, full out. Very nice landing. Strong exercise for Kevin Davis. That will score well. Let's take a look again at this dismount. He's going to have tremendous speed. As he lets go, he's going to do the first flip straight, and then he's going to twist in the second flip, and he spots the landing and nails it beautifully. Kevin Davis being congratulated by his teammate Wes Suter, also of the University of Nebraska. 9.65 for Kevin Davis. Now this is Lance Ringnold. He's getting ready to perform on the parallel bars, and Lance is a very talented young man, and I think will really figure as a strong member of the U.S. national team for several years. He opens on the end of the bars with a giant, through to a giant front uprise or a giant cast support. A little trouble there on the back toss. You can see he's a little out of line on the Diamondov. There's a clean stutz to a handstand. And his dismount here, pike double back. Once again, in Lance Ringnold's style, he shows a tremendous amount of difficulty for a very talented young man. If he can clean up his line a little bit in these handstands and polish his exercise, he has all the big tricks to be an international star. Nice pike double back dismount. So 9.8 for Lance Ringnold. A generous score, actually, for a routine that was packed with difficulty, but he had a few minor form and technical deductions. So here are the standings after 2 rotations in today's optionals. Now keep in mind that these scores reflect the compulsories, which were competed earlier, and today's optional exercises. Ringnold leads Davis by... We're back with rotation 3 of today's optional competition, and this is our leader, Lance Ringnold, on the high bar. This is one of Lance's best events. Pirouette to a one arm. Now here comes a release move combination. Reverse hecht to a Ginger. Very nicely done with good form and a good clean line. Lance did that reverse hecht with his legs together, which makes it unusual. A little trouble, a little flat on that jam to Eagle Giant swings, but really he has all the difficulty necessary. Really good swing here for the layout, double full out. One hop on the landing, but a very difficult dismount. Lance made it to the all-around finals in Seoul, where he placed 35th in the all-around. One of his best events, of course, the high bar. You can see here he had a little trouble as he stoops in, a little flat. He should take that jam right to the handstand, but this is a nice combination as he does a hop, full pirouette, finishes with another pirouette, and here's the dismount. Watch what happens. He's going to do a layout flip and then wrap 2 twists in the second flip. Really a tough dismount. 9.7 for Lance Ringnold. That'll keep him in the lead. Now, one of Lance's teammates is this young man, Trent Demas. He's 18 years old and trains with Lance down at Gold Cup Gymnastics in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with Coach Ed Birch. Trent is very tall, and the long lines make him a very exciting performer on the high bar. Stem up in bar stolder, regular stolder, all of those stolders with the wrong way grip, as we call it. Full twisting one-arm giant swing. Here comes his release. Very nicely done. Reverse hecht to a Ginger, and he almost missed the Ginger. He was way out there. Notice the long lines and the tremendous power in his swing. Here's the dismount, a triple back, over-rotated. Very nice exercise for Trent Demas on his best event. Now this routine is going to score very well because he has lots of difficulty and a good clean line and good form. Let's watch here at the release combination. This is a reverse hecht, back over the bar, and immediately catches and sets up a Ginger, which he pitched out a little bit, but he did a nice job in recovering and making a good regrasp. Jams into Eagle Giant swings, the hop pirouette. Notice the tremendous power as he sets up for this triple back. The bar is 8 feet above the ground, and he is another 6 or 8 feet above the high bar in order to make that triple flip. Once again, a tighter look at the reverse hecht Ginger combination. He's going to go back over the bar, straddled, catch, and right away set up for the Ginger, and you can see he had to really reach to make that regrasp. Good combination for Trent Demas. The hop pirouette out of the Eagle Giant swings. Tremendous speed. Look at the bar bend as he sets up the triple flip. Goes way out of frame. And so a 9.8 for Trent Demas on his best event. Now this is Patrick Kirksey. He's currently in 3rd place in the all-around. He's performing on the pommel horse. He's originally from Tucker, Georgia. Now competes at the University of Nebraska. He's having a little trouble on this exercise as he's laboring through some of the one pommel elements. He breaks into the single leg work, which is a requirement, scissors and reverse scissor. Back down to the end, and a handstand full pirouette off. A good exercise, but certainly not a great exercise. He needs a little bit more amplitude above the horse. You can see he's a little close to the pommels, a couple of form breaks. He could be just a little bit higher above the horse, and his exercise would look a little bit more impressive. He had plenty of difficulty, and good clean work there on the reverse scissor. Excellent form there. Then he made his way down to the end, loops around here, and notice he's going to straddle up to a handstand and then back at the U.S. Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs as we get ready for the final 3 rotations of the USGF Winter National Gymnastics Championships, where the U.S. team is being re-ranked for the upcoming season. Like youngsters at the ballpark who bring their gloves, these aspiring young gymnasts emulate their heroes as well. There's no question a gymnast's hands are his most important tool. A pitcher uses rosin, a wide receiver uses stickum, a gymnast uses chalk and leather handguards to ensure a good grip. On parallel bars, the hands are 2 fulcrums on which the gymnast must maintain the ultimate control and balance. Along with chalk and handguards, fingertip dowel rods are used to maximize grip strength through 360-degree swings. The hands, the most complex muscular structure on the human body, adapted to, not necessarily designed for, the rigors of gymnastics. Well, the rigors of gymnastics continue. Here are the standings after 3 rotations. It's Ringnall Davis, Tim Ryan, Kirksey, Mark McKiernan from Minnesota, and Wes Suter from Nebraska. Kevin Davis is up on the pommel horse. Here's an opportunity for him to gain some ground on Lance Ringnall. This is his favorite and best event. Look at the tremendous work on the end with flares as he travels back across the horse. It's a very difficult combination. Back up into the center. This is the single leg work. Excellent form, good height on the reverse scissor and front scissor. He travels to the end, loop to the handstand, and a pirouette off. Nice exercise. That'll score well for Kevin Davis. This is certainly the best part of Kevin's exercise. He's going to break into flares here. Now watch, he twists his upper body back against the direction that he's circling. That's called a spindle. And then he continues to travel across the horse, showing tremendous elevation above the pommels. Nice combination. And so a 9.3 for Kevin Davis is a missed opportunity if he hopes to catch Lance Ringnall. Next up on the rings is 19-year-old Emilio Marrero. He's from New York City, but now trains with Yoshi Hayasaki at the University of Illinois. There's a German uprise to a cross. Nice opening combination. He's taking a little too long in that inverted hang position, but he picks up into really nice in-locate through to a straight arm giant. This is an inverted iron cross. And a front uprise. A little bobble there. Will be a couple of tenths of a point deduction. He has a good clean line in his handstand, very straight. He's 5 feet 8. He looks very tall because he's good at extending his body to the maximum. It was a front giant. Now here comes the dismount. Back giant through to a double layout. Nice job for Emilio Marrero. Let's look once again at the dismount. This is the giant right through the top, passing through the handstand to 2 flips, both in the laid out position, very high and good rotation. And so a 9.2 for Emilio Marrero. That brings us over to Lance Ringnold, who's getting ready to perform on the floor exercise. This is one of Lance's best events. He's been very well known as a tumbler and as a vaulter. Let's see his opening run. 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4. Nice opening sequence. He comes back across the mat with an Arabian through to double full punch front. Terrific combination tumbling. Now notice the tremendous flexibility that Lance has. He has perfect straddle split. Good balance as he presses to a handstand. Straddles and then closes his legs to show good clean line. Here comes his third tumbling run. Head spring front with a full. That's an original series. That's one of the best things about Lance's gymnastics. He has good flexibility, good strength, and he is so talented. He's always coming up with original skills, and that's one of the things that the judges are looking for. Here's his last tumbling run. On off back handspring. High tuck double back and over-rotates it a little bit. Let's take a look once again at Lance's opening tumbling run. This is a 1 3/4 flip with 1.5 twist. But he keeps his body straight, and that makes it extra difficult. He comes right back across the mat with a round off to a back flip with a half twist, and notice he steps out and continues tumbling through to a layout double twist right to a punch front. Really nice series of tumbling skills. 9.35 for Lance Ringnold, which means he stays as our leader ahead of Kevin Davis and Tim Ryan from Stanford. Bart Connor back here at Colorado Springs for the final 2 rotations of the men's USGF Winter Nationals. This is Kevin Davis. He's currently in 2nd place. Trains at the University of Nebraska with his coach there, Francis Allen, who's about to boost him up to the rings. Kevin had a very good year. He was 3rd in the American Cup in '88, and he has proved to be a strong member of the U.S. national team. Really nice work on a front lever. Must be parallel to the floor. And he opens with a kip cross. Kevin is using one of the techniques that a lot of gymnasts use. They open with their strength moves and then build through to their swing moves. You're generally fresher at the beginning of the routine, so you get the strength moves out of the way and then you swing. There's a whip it to a swing handstand. Oh, a little trouble on that front giant. He lost the lock of one of his arms. He did a very good job in keeping that in control. That's a full twisting double dismount, half in, half out, or a full out, depending on when he does his twist. But you can see here, he opens with the full straight body front lever. It's important that you keep that position for 2 seconds and you lock the arms out. And he continued to a kip to a cross. And Kevin is obviously trying to improve his strength work because this was one of the major problems for the U.S. team in Seoul. The judges are having a discussion, and it looks like they're talking about the lock arm problems that Kevin had, and even Kevin knows he had a little trouble in that front giant swing. And so a score of 9.15 for Kevin Davis, which allows the door to be open for this young man to expand his lead. This is Lance Ringnold. He's coming up on the pommel horse, which actually is not one of his best events, but he's been having a pretty solid competition all day. He opens on the end with a hop. Travels across the horse. He has good position. He's hitting the horse a little bit. Every time you brush the horse, it's a deduction of 1 to 3 tenths, depending on how badly you hit the horse. Care out to the end. This is not a great exercise, actually. The dismount was nice, the full pirouette off, but there wasn't enough difficulty, and he had some technical problems and some form deductions. You can see he's working on the end, traveling up to the pommel. He gets leaning forward there, and he does a good job in fighting, maintaining his balance. However, he did brush the horse, and that is a major deduction. He continued through the scissors and scissor half turn and picked up back into circles, but it's not going to be a high-scoring exercise. In fact, an 8.7 for Lance Ringnold. It still opens the door for Kevin Davis if he can catch him in his last event. This is Wes Suter from the University of Nebraska. Wes was voted the Gymnast of the Year by his teammates on the U.S. team. He was also a member of the Olympic team in Seoul. This traditionally has not been one of Wes's best events. He opens with a planche, a straddle planche. He has to hold those strength moves for a full 2 seconds to get the requirement from the judges. But this is a nice combination. 2 Yamawakis. It's a move named after Yamawaki, the great Japanese gymnast. Very nice swing work. Although his strength work needs a little work, he has a good line in the handstand. He's having a little trouble controlling the rings. He has to keep them still. A very nice full twisting double back dismount for Wes Suter. But in the middle of his exercise, those Yamawakis, or double back flips within the rings, were really nicely done. Look at that position. He hangs on, doing a double back, does a giant over, and sets up for another one. Nice originality for Wes Suter, 2 in a row. It's good to see that Wes is adding some new skills to his ring routine. When he gets a little stronger in the iron cross position, he will score well. But that did score very well, 9.4 for Wes Suter, which moves him from 6th to 4th. So after 5 rotations, Ringnold still maintains the lead. Davis is 2nd, and Patrick Kirksey moves into 3rd. As we go into the 6th rotation, it's a Ringnold-Davis show. There's no question about it. And Lance is getting ready to come up on actually one of his weakest events. Davis has a chance to catch him in the vault. That's coming next. Here's his opening. Back kip around to an L cross. And he does not hold that long enough. He needs to freeze that position for at least 2 seconds. He did not do that. That will be a big deduction. He is so good at swing work, though. He does a double whip it to a whip it, and that cross he just about held for the length of time the judges require. But he dislocates back around into a move. That straddle position is called a Delchev, named after Stoyan Delchev from the Bulgarian team. Press to a handstand at the end. That's called a hollow back press. He's a little weak in that handstand position. That's something he'll need to improve on. And a laid-out double and short on the landing. He's going to score low. The door is definitely open for Kevin Davis if he can hit his vault. There's the Delchev and a back uprise to an L position. He's going to press to a handstand here, and you can see he struggles a little bit. His back is a little loose. He does not press up with good smooth rhythm, and you can see it's hard for him to completely extend his arms. That's something that the judges are looking for. You should not struggle through this exercise. You can see here on the layout double, he's a little shorter rotation. Takes a big jump forward. That will also be a significant deduction. So 8.75 for Lance Ringnold. It's up to Kevin Davis now, who's over at the vault. Lance certainly didn't ice away the victory there. He's left a wide gap. If Davis can just nail his vault, he might win this. Handspring half Cuervo. Oh, and he's down. He completely blew the landing there. He had good position in the air, but he just over-rotated it. Let's see what happens. He does a handspring half turn and a pike back. He's much higher than he thought he was going to be and pulled it around too far. So obviously a score of 8.6 will not allow Kevin Davis to overtake our new national champion, Lance Ringnold. So let's take a look at the new U.S. national team through July, where a new team will be picked at the championships of the USA. Lance Ringnold first, Kevin Davis, Patrick Kirksey, Wes Suter, Tim Ryan, Emilio Marrero, and then Mark Warburton from Nebraska, Scott Burr from Brigham Young, Conrad Vorsanger from Stitch Out.